Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dana, and on this channel it's all about SMS beauty, which is skincare, makeup, sunscreen. Today, I think we're doing the middle one. Sometimes I feel like we do a lot of sunscreen, which is not just a feeling, that's a fact. And other times, you know, kind of varies, but lately it's been just so many sunscreen releases. So I figured today was the perfect day to do a little makeup because I also have two really exciting things to share with you guys. So the first one is that this video is sponsored by the wonderful online makeup academy, which is very exciting for me because I don't know if you guys know, but like the makeup part of my channel and my Instagram is purely just because I enjoy it. I get like immense joy out of doing it. I am not a professional. I'm not trained. I used to not wear makeup at all. So like I've come full circle, I guess you could say. But they reached out and wanted to see if I wanted to take their course, which is basically an online course to certify you as a professional makeup artist, which is like, oh, so exciting. Now, will I ever use that? Probably not. Am I going to go into a career in makeup? Probably not. But am I learning like the coolest things and really getting a glimpse into what it takes to be a makeup artist? Yes, I am. And am I going to put it to good use today? Absolutely. And why is that, you ask? Well, I have a few video calls for work today, which is like, you know, pretty par for the course. But I also have a job interview, and I would like to look good, which I know I can do on my own, but I have already been watching some of these videos and like really going through the course, and I was just like scribbling down stuff that I wanted to try out, because I think a lot of times you get into a rut of doing the same technique, the same steps that you always do, and forget like there are just so many ways to do it. And so this one I went to specifically was the natural, what was it called? I can just find it for you. Natural makeup application. And I will insert clips of it and let you know like kind of as I'm going through it. But it's just really cool. And the things about this course, I'll get into it when I get going, but I love the fact that I can just jump into it whenever I want. If you guys did not know, I'm pretty busy and I like it that way, but I don't always have time to sit through like 3 hours straight course or whatever. So I can do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, pick it up later, and I have lifetime access. So if that didn't happen, like if they didn't tell me I had that, I would be like, no thank you, I can't. So that is one really big feature to it. And the other thing that I haven't tested out yet, but once I finish it, of course, I will have my like pro makeup card so I can get discounts at stores. So I thought that was pretty cool because you know your girl likes a discount. But I'm gonna get going. Also, I have like, I don't know what this is. It just started bleeding on the outside of my nose. So if you see blood, that's why. So this is what the course curriculum looks like. As you can see, you can tell exactly how much you've started and done. I right now have 9% complete. I just started this. And it tells you where you are. If you want to just hop back to the part that you were at, I was at the makeup kit, you can just start next lecture, or you can scroll down and you can go back through any of these. I've already done them, but it doesn't mean I can't go back to it. So I could just click on this and go back to it. But anything that you haven't started, you can obviously see this little start button on the right side. So I've got a lot of ways to go, but like I said, I just started this today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a little bit more of this on my own, and then I'll come back and I'm probably going to go through some of this skin prep and then this neutral makeup and do one of these looks for you guys. So I'm very excited to see that and kind of keep going down the course. So the first step that they talk about is one that I really enjoyed, but they basically were saying that skin prep is the most important thing. And I was like, yes, we know that here on this channel. Not everybody knows that, but we know. So I've already gone ahead and put a moisturizer on my face. I am using the Beauty Pie Superdose Vitamin C. It's not too heavy, so I wanted that because it's definitely getting hotter in North Carolina, but I do have a little bit of a glow, which I'm okay with. Next thing, and I'm just gonna like kind of show you what I'm using as a sunscreen slash primer. It's the Black Girl Sunscreen Make It Matte. I've used this before, and they talk about a primer as like a traditional makeup primer, but I don't really do that. I like to use my sunscreen as my primer. And I do understand that sunscreen may give you a flashback. So if you are really like in the professional makeup setting, you're taking pictures, you're on a shoot, you might not be able to wear certain sunscreens if they're gonna give you a flashback, but I'm not doing that. So I wanted something that is gonna give me a little bit more of a matte look because it is hot already, and I think this one is a good one that will work with makeup because it is this kind of like silicone-y matte feel. So I'm gonna put that on. I'm gonna put more on because you know your girl has to put the proper amount on, and then we'll be back. Okay, so next up is base. And one of the key things that they're talking about, which I really, really loved, is that you don't need a lot, and you definitely don't need like a heavy foundation to make it look good. Now, keep in mind, we're also doing a natural makeup look, so like heavy foundation just is not what we're going for. But I'm gonna use the Nars Tinted Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. This is not a foundation. I don't own a foundation. Like, I'm looking at my stuff, they're all tinted moisturizers. So this is what we're using, and I thought that this was good because I know a lot of people do really enjoy it. So I wanted to get one that was kind of like universally liked. But again, use whatever base that you want if you're following along at home. She did use a foundation brush in the demo. I know this is like a very big kind of like makeup artist thing, and it's not that I don't want to use brushes because I'm absolutely going to be using them, but I have tested this out and I just don't like it on me, so I'm not going to use this one, but I am going to use my other favorite foundation brush, which is the Kat Von D one. I just like this more. And here's the thing, you don't have to, I mean, I know there are like some rules to makeup, but at the end of the day, it's your face, it washes off. Like, you should do what makes you happy and what you enjoy. So that said, I'm putting it on the back of my hand and not a palette. I'm also, you know, working on my own face. I'm not working on a client's face. If it was a client, you would have to sanitize things, you would have to do things quite a bit differently. And they definitely teach you all of that in the course, but I'm just putting makeup on my face right now, so I don't have to be that stringent. And like the video and tutorial says, you want to focus on the center of your face, just because the majority of us, the redness, any discoloration, whatever we're trying to like cover up, is going to be more in the center, and then you can kind of work your way out from there. And this does look like a lot, but it is a pretty light tinted moisturizer, so it blends in almost immediately. That foundation and that sunscreen just really gave it such like a glidey, smooth feel. So if you are looking for something to help with either like pores or just make it a little bit more blurring, those types of primers slash sunscreens can do a beautiful, beautiful job. Now, the other thing that they talk about is having a beauty sponge. So they're not talking about like a beauty blender or this type of thing. They're talking about an actual like sponge that you get at Sally Beauty. You know, like they're disposable. And I 100% understand why they do that. It's all for sanitary reasons. I'm just not gonna go out and buy that because I think it's wasteful for me. If I were doing this on a client, if I were a practicing makeup artist, it's a different story. But I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'll just use my own beauty sponge. Nobody else uses it. It's kind of, you know, it is what it is. So beauty sponges are a great tool, and they definitely gained popularity in the last like 5 or 10 years, maybe less than 10. But you know, they're not revolutionary. Like, makeup artists have used them for always. Okay, the base is on. The next step is to conceal or like color correct your under eyes. Now, I was thinking, I was like, should I buy a color corrector palette or whatever? Because, you know, you've seen them. They have like orange, green, yellow, maybe white so you can mix. I don't really have like dark under eyes, so I thought that that was a waste because I'm not going to be a professional makeup artist. I'm not going to be working on clients. So instead, I have 2 concealers, different colors, and I'm going to use one as kind of like a more brightening one, and then one to actually correct any spots or discoloration. Now, one I have is, well, I have 2 of my very favorites, if you guys didn't know. This is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Self-Setting Concealer, and this is the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. So this one is more of my skin tone. I think it's the shade, what is the shade? Macadamia, medium 1.5. I'm gonna use this just on any patches, like where I was bleeding. And then just a little bit of redness there, but I'm not really that worried about it. And this part is no different than kind of what you do on your day-to-day basis. You don't need to use a pound of makeup anywhere. And I'm just gonna be using this little brush that I have and kind of dabbing it in. One of the things that I've noticed more than anything about like going through this course and just watching professional makeup artists work is they do tend to use brushes more than like other products. And they also just go in the smallest, thinnest layers and kind of work. I mean, they can work quickly, I'm sure, but like it looks like they're working just kind of gently and like very targeted, I guess is the word. So that is one thing. I mean, I don't always have time to do that. So I think that's like in normal everyday life why we kind of don't do it. We're all kind of in a rush to just get ready. But if you do have this time to do it, it's kind of, it just helps because you don't have to cake on the makeup. You don't have to cake on the concealer, whatever. You just do a little bit where you need it. Then I'm going to use, this is the Makeup Forever. Makeup Forever, I just looked. I was like, what are the different brands that I could get a discount for with the Pro Makeup card? One of them is Makeup Forever. So this is one of my absolute favorite concealers of all time. This and the Nars are really the only two that I have anymore. And this one is a lighter shade. I forget, I'll list the shade below, of course. On the video, it said to really focus on brightening the inner eye because especially, well, if you have darker under eyes as well, but that area just kind of gives you this pop of brightness and more like youthfulness and awakefulness. Is that a word? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to really focus more so than I typically do right on that inner area. And then we're going to do just a little bit out here because I do have some darkness out there, and blend. And you see I'm just kind of doing the tapping motion, which really kind of enables the product to stay exactly where you placed it, but not get too cakey, I've noticed. Oh, look at that. Look at that. This is what I need to do. I always forget about that because it takes a few extra seconds to like kind of get a brush that fits in there, but that is so key. And I'm gonna take just the leftover and pull it down. I have super creasy under eyes, so if I put too much product under here, it just gets bad. So I'm just taking any leftover, not adding more. Now, I'm pretty happy with this. Like, I think that this would be honestly enough, but I'm gonna do a few more steps and I'm really not gonna do every single part of it. So I might do a little bit less than what's actually on the video. But again, you should be able to kind of like take tips from this. Like I already took that tip and I know I'm gonna be using that for a while. And not feel obligated to do exactly as they have on the video because that's not really art. Like if you're a makeup artist, you're doing your own interpretation. And because I need to be ready for an interview today, I wanna look nice, but I don't wanna look overdone. So let's keep going. Okay, next up, we're gonna do some shadow. So I'm gonna be using this Patrick Ta. This is the Major Dimension 1 palette. And I find like this is just a perfect neutrals palette. Oh, there you go. And I'm gonna be starting off with this second shade, which is kind of the like lightest nude matte brown. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. And I'm gonna dip this small brush in. And basically what I'm trying to do is I'm going to do a V up here, right in the crease, and then along the lash line. And this is to just kind of give you a little bit of dimension and shadow. We're not going for much today, so this is pretty much it. Now, you can definitely do a deeper look, but again, I have an interview. I don't want to look done up. I really just want to look natural. So I'm gonna do this on both eyes and then I'll come back. Okay, as you can see, I have kind of, I've put the shadow in the crease and then pulled it down here. And it's not anything that you need to be super specific about, especially the first application. And we are getting a little bit of a cat eye. But what I'm gonna do after I get the actual shadow in, or on, whatever the word is, I'm gonna take a clean, fluffier brush so you can see the difference in size. This one, the black one, is quite thin, and this one is quite a bit bigger. We're gonna take the clean, bigger one and just diffuse everywhere. Okay, so I did add just a little bit of extra shadow. I went into this Bare Minerals palette, which is a great palette because especially like these two shades are pretty much all I use. And I used the lighter shade to kind of just give me a little bit of a like white, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Highlighted, open, bright, those are the words, look. So I'm just putting them on the inside of my eye. Do you see that? This is the V area where I put the shadow, and then this is just a matte. It's not really white, but it's just a little bit lighter, and it gives me kind of that like open eye look. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little bit of liner, and they use like a liquid one, but I'm just gonna use the deepest shade in this palette because I really don't want to do anything too crazy, and I feel like once I get into liquids, it does get a little bit crazier for me. So I'm just gonna put tiniest little bit right on the edge with the same brush, not going in again. Do the same thing. And then once I have that out, I'm going to find another little brush, not that one. So this little one is kind of like a round one. It really is great for smudging out shadow. And I'm just trying to do the outer portion with liner, and then I can smudge it as much as I want to kind of soften it up. But look at that, I didn't need to put that much on, and just by smudging it out, you really can distribute it pretty well. So I'm starting at the middle and then going out, and that's all I'm doing, and just kind of blending it in to make sure no harsh lines. Okay, I think we're done with the eyes, but do you see how it kind of darkened up a little bit on the edge? Did not go crazy. I'm gonna put mascara on in a second, but I did want to walk through the last kind of 2 steps that I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do any contouring today. I just don't feel like I need it. It's not something I do on a regular basis, but if you do that, this of course has that. It has so many other tips in there. But one thing I am gonna do is I'm gonna just kind of, I don't know if I'm gonna call it filling in my brows, but I'm gonna brush them up, and then I'm gonna put some brow gel on it. And then I'm gonna put blush on, and that's gonna be pretty much it. So my brows are microbladed, so that's why I don't really need to fill them in that much. But sometimes I just like to do like a few lines, especially on the little tail part. And then I'm using my 24-hour brow setter. This is just my favorite at the time, but if you have one that you prefer, just use that. And one of the things that, you know, they're gonna teach you in the course, and I've learned just by being observant, is that trends change. So right now, fluffy brows are in, but they're probably gonna go away, and maybe we'll have the like really thin brows again. So makeup, if you're taking a course like this, it's not about learning the trends per se, it's about learning the base and the art of it, because as trends come and go, you do adapt. But if you know kind of the basics of it, just like if you know like the basics of drawing or writing, you can kind of adapt to whatever style you want to do. It's the same with makeup. So those are the brows. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply blush. I'm going to use this, which brush do I want to use? I think I'm going to use a fluffier brush. So we're going to use this one. And they tell you all about the different tools that you're going to need, especially if you're actually becoming a makeup artist, like the kit, sanitation. There's so many more things. Like I'm just skimming the surface, but I still think it's so cool because they give you enough to understand what you're going to need. They also talk about skin tones. Like obviously I have like a medium, light medium skin tone, but if you're a working makeup artist, you have to know how to work on people with very light skin tones, very deep skin tones, and everything in between. So they talk about that as well, which it's like, it's basically everything you would like. And I feel like I've gone through a lot of it and I'm still just learning and skimming. But I think if you're somebody who's into makeup and learning about it, it's pretty cool. Okay, I'm using the old school Milani Luminoso Baked Blush, whatever. Did I just make that up? And they definitely tell you to kind of focus more on the outer portion of your cheek, not so much the apple. And I would say that that's pretty new. Maybe that's one of those things that comes back into style, that you do blush a little bit closer to your nose. I think it's really nice just because it does kind of lift your face, just like everything else. Everything right now is kind of like aimed at lifting and making you look a little bit like more youthful, which I think, I guess makeup always does, but definitely with the cheek approach. And do you see how far out I'm going? But when you look at me close or like face on, it doesn't look like that. And because this blush is so buildable, like I'm swirling it in and I'm not getting a lot, you can build it up really easily. And I do prefer most products that you can build up versus just having like a swatch of color on your face without blending it in. And this is a trick, this isn't a trick, but I do this often where I don't tend to use a lot of bronzer. I kind of prefer the look of blush where bronzer goes. And I think it's because in the summer I'm already deeper and like my skin tone is darker. So I feel like this gives me the look that I prefer. Okay, I forgot everything but mascara. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to actually curl my lashes, which I don't do often. This is what you can do as a makeup artist. You can also let them do it because a lot of people, I don't think they want you like curling their eyelashes and putting mascara on. I'm gonna do that and then we'll be back. All right guys, so this is the final look. Do we like it? I think it will look great on video. It looks polished, it looks pulled together, but nothing looks overly like done. I didn't put any highlighter on. They do talk about that. Of course, they go through literally every step in this process and so much more, like I said. But I just didn't feel like I needed highlighter. Like I think I got a little glow. I'm also not really doing a lip. I'm just gonna do this, what is it, Laneige lip sleeping mask, because I feel like I don't want it to look overly done. So a little bit of gloss, and this stuff is glossy. And then because I do have a full day and like many other calls, I'm gonna be putting some setting spray on. Okay, so that's about it for the makeup. But I did just want to go through, you know, if you have any questions, of course, just reach out or look at their website. It's all online, especially right now with COVID, well, like the end of COVID. Now my hair's wet. It's just convenient. They have one-on-one counseling. So if you have a question, if you want to submit something, but you're not sure, you just reach out to your, I guess, coach or mentor, and you can talk with them. So it's just like being in person, but online. I've done, I think like at this point now, 2 or 3 other courses very similar to this, and I love this method because like I said, I do need to kind of like go at my own rate, and I can't just sit down and do it in a weekend. So, I mean, I'm excited to finally like finish this up and get my certificate. But once I do that, I will let you know. I'll probably post on my, what's it called? Community tab here on YouTube, so you guys can celebrate along with me. And let me know if you have any questions. They are wonderful to work with and just a wealth of knowledge that, I mean, we watch YouTube videos on makeup all the time, but there's always something new to learn. And if you really do have any interest in becoming a professional makeup artist, having this kind of certification and the card that comes along with it, as well as the knowledge, is invaluable. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.